Another really good example of that has been some of the, we're not here purely to plug you guys, but another really good example is one of the tools you have, which is where you can sort of drop people into the project, if that makes sense, into the 3D model. So during COVID, we had a lot of community engagement projects that were going on, some of them in Kingston in London. And one of the big challenges is then trying to get across to people what it will feel like to be in a space, or however it may work. So one of the really interesting things that we used, which I'd never seen before or used before, was where basically you can share a link to the project file. People can click on that link and drop into the site. So and they can walk around basically like you would do in sort of Google Maps. Now it's not an amazingly rendered thing, but it's there spatially to give you an idea of like how the site works. And a really good example of where that was incredibly useful was, well, in two ways. One was during COVID, so people can understand, oh, right, okay, that's that building, we're stood here, that there's going to be some trees over there, okay, right, I kind of get it, how it will be laid out. But then when it came to actually talking with the council, they were really worried about access for fire engines down this particular street that was being pedestrianised. And we said, well, it works, we've done it. Here's a plan, here's the tracking to show that a fire engine can drive down here. And they were just like, we don't believe you. So we said, okay. So we stuck a bunch of fire engines and ambulances in the street and then dropped them in so they could actually stand there and see, oh, there's a fire engine there. There's clearly enough room to fit a fire engine in that space. I mean, for anybody else that's seen the project, they think we were sort of modelling some disaster because there was emergency vehicles everywhere. But it was just clear to see that actually, oh, right, yeah, they can actually still drive down here. They can fit there. There's enough space. Oh, right, that's how that works. And it's fairly straightforward because you're drawing it anyway to get some of these things across. All you have to do is add a bit of the 3D element, but then for them to be able to see it straight away and actually walk around it to sort of settle themselves in what the space could be like is really key to sort of drive home their understanding of it. So it works really well for both sort of the public side, for bringing them along the journey, especially where it's more sort of schematic at that stage still, like loosely rendered, because it's not so prescriptive as like a high-end render, because that's one of the big challenges with community engagement. If you have a really sexy high-end render, they go, oh, so what are you consulting us about? You've already designed it. Whereas if it's more schematic and a bit more vague, there's more opportunity to kind of engage and not fixate on specific elements, like a bin. Very often people go, I hate that bin. We're not going to have that bin there. And you go, no, ignore the bin. The point is, what do you think of the overall project, So it can be really useful for engaging the community in that early stage, portraying ideas, but then also, getting sort of councils and stuff to understand.